Giju hesitated a little but declared that's right, he was here to become the master of this gate. Then he asked the lich if he was the gate, to which the lich answered questioning gate. Then with an audible click, the lich remarked right the gate, he was the master of this abandoned ruin. Our hero noticed that the lich no longer spoke with the system's voice. Then the lich materialized a staff in his hand, and upon noticing this, our hero informed his egos that he would be making the first move as he rushed forward. The lich shouted, "Prove that you are worthy to become its master." Using the power of the staff, it casted a fireball towards the charging hero. Noticing it was too late to dodge, Giju collided with it, causing a massive blast in the area. When the dust settled, Lu gave a warning to pay attention, since another attack was incoming. As Giju looked towards the lich, multiple magic arrows were headed his way. The lich asked, "Is that all you've got? He hasn't even gotten started yet," taunting our hero. As the arrows were about to reach his location, he quickly used haste to evade them, however the lich was not about to give him a chance. It simply sent more arrows at Giju, and our hero was thinking that if he let his guard down, he might be done for. While still evading, he told Lu that he was counting on him, to which Lu replied, puzzled for what? As Giju threw the black sword in front of him. Lu cried for help and cursed his shitty master. And as Giju caught up to the sword, he said sorry while laughing, then used Lu as a stepping stone to launch himself towards the lich while simultaneously using the trick of transforming Lu to a ring, then back again to a sword to confront the lich. The attack of the black sword was easily blocked by the lich's staff, and he commented that if you wish to become his master, this is not enough. But before he could finish, Giju transitioned into a spin attack, using white sword this time to strike a blow to the chest of the lich, causing it to scream in pain. Then our hero jumped out of the range of the counterattack. The lich remarked that white sword was an annoying weapon, and he wanted to avoid dragging this battle any longer. As Giju looked up, countless arrows were just above his position as far as the eye could see. Lu warned that they would not be able to dodge it, but Elle told him to use her since she could seal it. While our hero was using the white sword to block the magic arrows, Lu reminded his master to use him instead, since these demonic arrows were nothing to him. Having decided to trust Lu, he used the black sword to block the arrow as well and got a system notification telling him that Lu is absorbing the demonic energy. More system notifications informed him that Lu has begun to gain awareness of the Lord of the Demonic Blade, which confused our hero, Lord of what? Then asked for a sacrifice in order to successfully awaken Lu. At that moment, the eye on the sword lit up and created a barrier that absorbed the remaining demonic arrows. The lich couldn't believe that a mere mortal had the power to do all this, but since he hasn't submitted to him yet, he declared the beginning of the last test. Summoning the undead from the grave, they started to combine and created a flesh golem, with the lich on top of its head. The giant flesh golem punched the ground, sending debris everywhere, but instead of being knocked out, Giju used the arm to his advantage and climbed it to reach the lich for a devastating attack. Our hero asked the gate if this was worthy enough for it, and the lich responded that he accepts his new master. The system then notified him that the gate has accepted his link, and to please give it a name. As the smoke from the last attack starts to fade away, Giju tries to think of a suitable name for this gate. Just then, black aura from the battle begins to be absorbed by Lu, and the red eye flares up, causing Lu to act out of control. Giju asks Lu what's going on. Lu lets out a maddening laugh, saying did they see him, this is the real him. How long did they think that he could stand the sight of the holy blade getting stronger than him? When Giju shouts Lu's name, the black sword comes back to his senses and begins to wonder what's going on. Elle tells her master that Lu is confused. Then Lu informs his master that he needs to go on a break, since he has a bit of a headache. Putting the issue aside for later, he goes back to naming the gate. After pondering for a bit, he thinks back to Bronhardt, the armor that faded away. Then making a decision, declares the name of the gate as Bronhardt. Meanwhile outside the gate, they have declared a gate break. The player association agents are moving the citizens of the city into evacuation shelters. Some players are on standby in front of the gate to eliminate any threat that appears. These two players are discussing the rank of this unique gate, which fluctuates between F rank and C rank. Nearby, Taeshik asks Seonghun about backup and is informed that all the nearby guilds and the members of the Child Guild are on their way. When asked about evacuation, it's going smoothly and they believe it'll be finished within 30 minutes. Taeshik tells them to do it within 10, and Seonghun replied he will tell them that. However, their biggest problems are the paparazzi that are not being cooperative, calling on the freedom of the press, and since some are retired players, they are being a real hassle to deal with. Taeshik with an angry expression remarks, "Let them be, if they want to die, then just let them." What worries Taeshik isn't the outbreak itself, since they have enough firepower to deal with it, but if a break does happen, then it means something bad has happened to Giju. Just at that moment, the players outside became alarmed due to the gate turning red, signaling a gate break. Everyone braces for combat. The frontline shields are lined up at the gate to meet the assault. Taeshik, feeling guilty, apologizes to brother Kim for his lack of foresight, and begs forgiveness from Giju for not being able to protect him. As he materializes his weapon, he charges towards the gate shouting, he will avenge Giju with his own hands. With a mighty leap, he jumps over the heads of other players to reach the front of the gate. While he is still in the middle of his leap, Giju steps out of the gate and asks, "Did you call me?" Which catches Taeshik off guard, causing him to lose his balance in mid-air. Just before falling he calls him a bitch, then tumbles onto the ground. Giju, wearing the hilarious mask, stands there puzzled, remarks, "What's all this?" Just as he turns to see the surrounding, he is momentarily blinded from the paparazzi try to take his picture. Giju is taken aback by the paparazzi, who want him to take off his mask and give interviews. At night, back at Taeshik's apartment building, they are met with the Player Association president and discussing the day's events while eating dinner. As he intently stares at Giju, stating that due to the gate ego, our hero was able to quickly grow stronger. At these words, Seonghun nervously remarking that, is this something that he should be privy to since unique abilities are sensitive matters, but Taeshik cuts him off saying that he is here because he could trust him, otherwise he wouldn't have made him his secretary in the first place. After saying this, he turns to Giju asking, if he linked with the gate, what happened to it? Our hero replies that since this is his first time, he is not really sure, but the gate said it's stabilizing right now and won't respond to him. Something might have happened to the gate when it closed. Lu isn't responding either, but currently it's transcending, but he can use Lu's abilities like normal, so there isn't anything wrong with it. The president is amazed that a player can possess a gate. If this gets out, the whole world will go crazy. As for the reporters, the association took good care of it, so it won't reach the press. As Giju thanks the president, his phone rings starts to ring. He excuses himself to get the call, and it turns out to be his sister asking, is that guy on the TV really him? She tells him that she was able to identify him by his ring and necklace, but what's up with that weird mask? Just at that moment, everyone at the table gets notifications on their phone at the same time. While Giju's sister is explaining the exploits of the unknown hero who stopped a break, calling her brother a bit cool, and asking if she can brag about it to her friends, since she thinks a lot of people can tell it's him. While she is still talking, he turns to look at the people at the table. They stare back with blank faces. The news feed on their phones are reporting on the hero who single-handedly prevented a disaster. Is this the birth of a new high ranker? Oh, he's screwed. Meanwhile, somewhere else, the Demon King is looking at her phone and sees the news about our boy. Ball from behind her comments that she looks to be in a good mood, and she replies it's nothing. With a smile she remarks that she feels like she taught her student well. Player paparazzi are mostly retired players who report on things related to tower, gates, and players. According to Taeshik, they are hard to control and he blames himself for not being able to keep Giju out of the limelight. Our hero consoles him, saying it's not like it was done on purpose. Taeshik points out that a bothersome guy was mixed in among the mob of reports, a player who was pretty famous before he retired. Hyangchul Go, who ranked quite high even among other rankers, and warns Giju not to get involved with him, and be careful not to run into this guy in the future, plot for later. After some time, Giju goes to the workshop of Senior Huang. He greets his senior, who tells him that he read the news and compliments him on being famous. Since he could clearly identify him with all the egos he is wearing, jokingly asking if he should pay Giju advertising fee for displaying them all. Our hero, being bashful, tells the senior that his reason he is here today. He needs something that can help him from standing out, a means to hide his identity. The senior asks if he is looking for a mask, since the one he wore on the news was quite horrendous. But unfortunately, the workshop doesn't have anything of the sort that he is looking for. Giju firmly tells him that he isn't looking for a mask, plus he wasn't the one who bought the mask in the first place. He goes on to explain that egos and masks are easily exposed to the public. While he will not be wearing the mask any longer, the problem lies with the signature rings he uses. The senior offers a simple solutions: use either a glove or gauntlets, and points to some over there for him to try out. He recalls in the past, it was really hard for him to establish a link, but afterwards when he tried again with Rain and Hermes, it was relatively easier. Could his capacity for wielding egos increased, to which L confirms his thoughts, saying that at the time he acquired Lu and L, his capacity was full. But now he is relatively stronger, and it's not due to his poor naming sense. Giju thanks L for trying to console him, and as he looks over the items, something catches his eyes. The senior also comments that he picked out a nice item. He puts it on and tries to link with it by giving it the name Oberon, and to his amazement it took on the first try. The system message notifies him that he has successfully linked with the ego, Oberon, and he can access Oberon's information. It feels a little awkward, but he thinks it should be fine once he gets used to them. Oberon's status window shows him that he has the ability Force, which momentarily increases strength. He wonders if he can summon both his swords while using the gauntlet, since normal gloves broke whenever he summoned them. Thinking to try it out, he summons both swords without issues and then accessorizes them all, which turns the gauntlets into normal-looking gloves and perfectly hiding his rings. Thinking he can now use this on a daily basis, he tells the senior these are great and asks how much. The senior replies that it's free, but in return he wants a favor from him. If he ever finds himself in need of help, that Giju will help him once. The next day, at the Player Association's first floor lobby, Giju finds a sea of reporters loitering around. He asks Seonghun what's going on, and is informed that reporters have been bothering them a lot recently, coming here daily, all because of the masked ranker, who caused quite a scene from his first mission. Giju remarks that he shouldn't be climbing the tower for a while, and should look into clearing gates for the time being. But Seonghun tells him that it won't be necessary, since all the paparazzi thinks that player Kim Giju is a high ranker, so they are currently waiting for him on the higher floors of the tower. And reporters who are looking for the masked ranker are all on the lower floors, so they should have no issues. At these words Giju feels offended and asks, "Are you mocking me?" Little clarification: high rankers are typically on floor 50 and higher, while our poor Giju is nowhere near that yet. Inside on the first floor of the tower, while killing a goblin, Giju reflects on the words of Senior Huang. The blacksmith values his gear very highly and takes pride in all his creations, so he wouldn't give them away for free without a good reason. It was probably a hard request for him. As he is walking in the forest, he hears the words, "Are you their master?" Turning around, he asks Elle if she heard that as well, to which Elle inquired what her master was talking about. He tells Elle that he heard someone saying something about master or something. Just then the voice said, "The one who calls yourself their master, say my name out loud." He asks Elle again, "You heard it this time, right?" Elle remarks that maybe Lu's awake now? No, it's a different voice telling him to say its name out loud. Then as if a light bulb turned on, he said, "Could it be Bronhardt?" As the words are spoken, an orb appears in front of him hovering in the air. He remarks, "This feels familiar to me for some reason," and starts to wonder, when an image of him almost getting butt naked comes to mind. With shocked realization, he hugs his clothes like a little girl and screams no. Nothing happens, and he slowly opens his eyes to look. Yup, the sphere is still there and it's not doing anything. Just then the system notification pipes up telling him, "Bronhardt's form has not been determined yet, please determine Bronhardt's form." He just stares at it without saying a word for a while, remarking that it's a bit different from what happened with Lu back then. He asks Elle if she knows anything about how to do this, and she tells him to put his hand over the marble and visualize the form that he wants. With a bit of skepticism, he slowly approaches and put his hands on it. He starts to recall the past when they were together, thinking about how it continued to save his life until the moment he perished. Thinking only if Bronhardt could continue to protect him, like he has always done in the past. He wants him to stay by his side and protect him. At these thoughts, a green energy surged out of the sphere and entered into his chest. Like Iron Man? Then a voice speaks to him calling him Master. He is so glad to be together again with Master. Giju remarks, back together? Could it be Bronhardt? System pop-up shows Bronhardt, the ego that had inherited memories. He looks at his new armor and says he is happy to be with Bronhardt too. It's a little different than what he imagined, also the voice is very childish too. Using the new skill unification, the egos are able to talk with each other, and they make their greetings. Looking at the status window, it looks to have inherited its memories from the name, even able to retain the skill reflect which belonged to the original. Along with new skills that might be abilities it has as a gate. Praising Bronhardt for having very impressive abilities, he began to test them out. While climbing the tower for a week, he focused on understanding the conditions of each ego, including Bronhardt. First, his new skills, open and close, are used to open and close a gate at his location. Even though this is his ability, he can't enter the gate himself just yet, and also the monsters that spawn out don't listen to his commands either. But it's still very useful, since he can now intentionally create gate breaks. Once he is fully able to control this ability, it should exceed the powers a single person should have. The other abilities allow Bronhardt to get stronger. Absorption can allow Bronhardt to grow by absorbing other gates, while domination can allow Bronhardt to absorb lower ranking gates and dominate it. But these abilities are limited to the gates he possesses. While he wants to test more, he needs to take care of the monster in front of him first. The guardian of the 28th floor, Giant Smilodon, looks like a giant saber-tooth. He remarks that he's only been going against weak monsters for the past week, so he needs a little challenge every once in a while. By using the force skill from his gauntlets, combined with haste from his shoes, he is able to block the attack of the guardian. Saying this is enough for a good warm-up, he starts to battle the overgrown cat with seriousness. After exchanging some blows, he uses his reacquired reflect skill to finish it off. Since all the guardians are huge, it's getting easier for him to fight against them once he got used to the size difference, and with the stronger reflect skill makes it even easier. The guardian this time only dropped a single green crystal, but at least he can sell the corpse at the association for money. As he throws the crystal into the gate, he learned one thing about Bronhardt's ability over this past week, and that is the gate can gain experience from the crystal and the monsters inside the gate can be strengthened. Now that he has grasped Bronhardt's abilities and gotten used to using combination skills, he thinks about going directly to challenge the 30th floor of the tower. But he'll make the final decision once he gets to the 29th floor. Meanwhile, on the 29th floor of the tower, a group of players are facing off against red players. Oh, what do you know, it's the Smurfs gang again, the same trio in the front as last time. It's time for some guild battle. As our unsuspecting hero is walking by, he hears the noise of the battle nearby between players. Bronhardt suggests to his master to go check it out, while our hero thinks he shouldn't be doing things like that. The group that is being ambushed is part of the Kane Guild, and Smurf number 1 is telling the injured guy that they are just using them as hostages to lure their guild master's sequel here. Just at that moment, a shadowy figure of Giju appears from behind him and grabs his head and lets him taste the dirt. While emitting a fearsome aura, he asks Smurf number 1, what was it that he was going to do? Well, stay tuned to find out what happens in the next episode. Until next time.